Welcome into the Oh Health Yeah podcast, brought to you by Healthy is Wellness. As you all know, our mission is to empower you to take control of your health and elicit a little bit of curiosity in your life when it comes to the world of wellness. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And if you have loved ones or friends that you think would benefit from this, share it with them. Let's get this thing going. What is up, Healthy is family? How the health are you? Thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of the Oh Healthy Yeah podcast. This one is for the parents out there and the kiddos. What we're going to be talking about today is little health habits that you can instill not only in your life, but in your kids' lives to help them be the best students, the best athletes, the best versions of themselves. Recently, I was asked by one of the school districts here to do a presentation to a group, well, like 5 groups of sixth, seventh, and eighth grade kids. And so, what I'm going to talk about during this podcast is the way that I frame that presentation to hopefully empower these kids to begin taking control of their health based around some different levers that we pull at Healthy Is. So, from this podcast, I hope that not only parents will get things that they can utilize with their kiddos, but also if any kids are out there listening, they can get a little bit of actionable item in their own life as well. The way that I framed my conversation was based around our folders. So we hand out blue folders to every single client we see. And when these kids showed up to the presentation, I handed every single kiddo a folder. And within their folder, there was one 9x4 collateral or 9x4 step. And these three collaterals that I'm going to talk about, each kid had one of these three. So they didn't have all of them. They had one that they were going to deploy in their own life. The 3 cards that I'll talk about today are no sugar flour for breakfast, healthy as a digital fast, and then healthy as expressing thankfulness. So as these kiddos came in the room, I handed them a folder. They opened up their folder and I asked them, I said, of you 30 or so kids, how many of you have this no sugar flour for breakfast card? And I had the ones that did raise their hand, and then they talked about what they had for breakfast. The reason that I chose the no sugar or flour for breakfast card as the first actionable item that I wanted to talk to these groups about was because of the benefits that come from the challenge itself. So you've probably heard us talk about this before, but with your first meal of the day, if you intake carbohydrates, whether those carbohydrates are oatmeal, Pop Tarts, pastries, cereal. One of the kids in the class said that he had popsicles for breakfast. When you take in those carbohydrate sources, what it does is it spikes your blood sugar, and what goes up must come down, and you crash. And that crash is oftentimes signified by a lapse in energy or another craving of something sweet or salty. So, with these kiddos, the reason that I brought this up is because a lot of these kids from 6th to 9th grade, what they're having for breakfast is Pop Tarts, French toast sticks, cereal, pastries. I was the same way. So, what I tried to frame for them is can you have some form of protein and fat to break your fast for that first meal of the day? And the benefits that come from it are not only sustained energy, but also the protein that you're getting is going to send your body a muscle building signal. So hopefully they can maintain or gain muscle mass if they're focused on that, as well as help them to burn fat throughout the day. If they have those carbohydrates immediately, that blood sugar spiking, they're getting that crash, they don't have sustained energy throughout the day. So whether they're trying to be the best student in class or the best athlete later in the day, it's really going to fluctuate their energy levels. So that first little actionable item that I wanted to lead the kids with, and I want to lead you guys with for your kiddos, or if there's kids listening, is can you have protein and fats for your first meal of the day whenever you break your fast to help with energy levels and to help with muscle gain as well as fat metabolizing. Do you have anything to add on no sugar flour for breakfast, specifically for like 6th to 9th grade kiddos or anyone?
Absolutely, I do.
Sure.
Something that's really important to us as a company is not giving you a bunch of ideas and not supporting those solutions, right? So, this is a really good opportunity for us to talk about the fact that we are launching another segment of Cooking with Us.
Oh,
So,
sweet.
we're going to be showing you guys some really cool videos. We're going to be filming and recording videos of how Gus likes to prep food and with he's got 4 children at home, how he likes to prep food for them and what works for him. Courtney's going to be doing a lot of stuff. One of the things that my wife loves to do is she'll take like 30 eggs at a time and crack them, season them, put them in a casserole dish, and she'll bake that, and then she'll slice them, and then she'll cook some bacon, and she'll make little egg wedges that are proteins and fats, proteins and fats.
Oh, yeah.
Super easy. Especially, I could see something like that working really, really well for, parents. That's a really, I mean, you could do an entire week in about an hour.
Yeah, make them in bulk and then just give them to the kiddos. Yeah.
Wrap them in parchment paper, put them in the fridge, good to go.
We do a lot of hard-boiled eggs at the house and cheese sticks because they're grab and go.
Oh, I hate peeling hard-boiled eggs.
Do you?
Bane of my existence.
I too. Yeah.
How do you do it?
I don't know, man. Can you put like a little bit of salt in the water when we boil it?
Okay.
That's supposed to help with the peeling process. Sometimes it does.
Chef boy or Kenny, damn.
No. Yeah, stay tuned for our secret hard boiling. So no, but the no sugar flour one's a great one when it comes to nutrition and playing with the breakfast. The second one that I gave the kiddos was it was a little bit I got a little bit of pushback on this one, but it was our healthy as a digital fast card. And that card ties into our sleep/wake pillar. And what that looks at is I had these kids grab the card, and every single one that had that healthy as digital fast card, I had them raise their hand, and I asked them the question of, after you woke up this morning, how fast were you scrolling on social media? And I got 30 seconds. I got 2 minutes. I had one kid that said he hadn't looked at his phone yet, and this was at like 10:30 a.m. So there's some people.
What an outlier.
I know.
Wow.
Wow. People that are not looking at it. But the emphasis behind that card is can you wait 1 hour after you wake up to start scrolling or looking at your digital devices as an adult, whether it's emails, texts, phone calls, as a sixth to ninth grader. They were talking a lot about like social media and Snapchat and all that good stuff. So I was challenging them with can you wait 1 hour to look at your devices? And even if it's not 1 hour, like can they start with 15 minutes? Can they start with 30 minutes before they get on the phone, get on the tablet? Reason behind it's the brain actually wants to slowly awaken. If you abruptly awaken the brain by looking at things that are stressful or looking at all the lights on the phone, it actually can make it harder to fall asleep at night, as well as it increases your cortisol level when you look at those things. Although we might not think that they're extremely stressful, it plays into it a little bit. So that's the second card that I pulled for the kiddos was the healthy as a digital fast card, due to the fact we're just trying to keep them off devices for a little bit in the morning if we can. Got anything on digital fast on DF?
I think the only thing that I want to add to that is acknowledging that your cortisol is already elevated when you wake up. That's how your body wakes itself up is slightly upping your cortisol. So if you can, trying to limit that as much as you can. Cortisol, it's kind of like the word fat. It's not bad. It's something that we have to have. We use it. Our body needs cortisol. Like if you just took cortisol out of our bodies, it wouldn't work like that. Like you wouldn't wake up. Like you need cortisol. It's just high states of cortisol for prolonged periods of time, right? I mean, we talk about something that we haven't talked about on the podcast is a thing called hormesis, which is literally pushing your cortisol to make it more durable, right? Like maybe you could break down hormesis real quick.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I mean, hormesis basically we're overexerting the body to allow the body to come back stronger than before. So we're pushing the body to higher limits. But just like you said right there with like fat and cortisol, I think inflammation is the same way too. Like acute inflammation that's short that comes from exercise is extremely beneficial for the body, but chronic heightened levels of inflammation can negatively impact the body. So it's the same thing with cortisol, like you're saying.
We just, as a society, we have a tendency to demonize words, phrases to an absolute degree.
Everything.
Everything.
Humanize everything.
Oh my goodness. Inflammation is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It is interesting that study, because I know you're a chronic cold plunger. And you also work out, and a lot of people say that you're kind of canceling the gains a little bit
Yeah.
by cold plunging when you work out. But I'm getting off base.
Yeah. Thought you're cool. That's what I'd answer that. Turn it on the goal. But no, I think, like you said, your relationship with cortisol is what really matters. Not that cortisol is good or bad. It's your relationship with it and the way that you utilize it within your day. And when you wake up, your cortisol is elevated. That's how we wake up every single morning. So trying not to double spike. This is what we're kind of after there with the digital fast card.
The quarterback and you just came out real quick.
Double spike. On before the two. Here we go. And then the third card that I gave these kiddos was one that we do not talk about a lot, and I wish we did, but it's the idea of healthy is expressing thankfulness. And what this card dives into is more of our calm category or our stress. And the emphasis on this card is can you reach out to one person for the next 30 days and let them know that you're thankful for them? And that could be literally walking up to Zach and being like, dude, I'm thankful for you. It could be a coworker.
You haven't done that in a while.
It could be your spouse. It can be like for these kids, I said your teachers, your staff, your coaches. the people around you, can you go out of your way to let somebody know you're thankful for them? I remember when I was playing football at Rocky, Nick, the founder of Healthy Is, was my professor, and he gave us this challenge. And he gave our whole class the challenge. And you had to go out of your way for 30 days and try to let somebody know that you're thankful for them. And it completely changed my perspective of a lot of things. It actually drove me to have conversations with people that I never thought I would have, which is so meaningful. But when I framed this for the kids, I said, how many of you have said you're thankful to somebody in your life? Not very many of them raised their hand. So that was the third card that I pulled for them, and something that can be extremely beneficial. Not only is it just nice to give, but the science behind it shows that the more that you give back to other people or let them know that you're thankful for them, the better off you're going to feel as well. And we've all felt this in our own lives. So the third one I gave them was expressing thankfulness. What do you think about that one?
Oh, I think thankfulness is one of our like top 5 challenges of the how many do we have? 40?
I think there's like 60. I don't
Yep.
know. I'd have to count.
Thankfulness is like so back when I first started with Healthy is Wellness, around every November, December, we'd roll out the thankfulness and the gratitude challenge. And the gratitude challenge is very similar to the thankfulness one. Real quick, how would you explain the gratitude challenge right off the top of your head?
Gratitude, just write down 3 things you're grateful for each day, whether it's first thing in the morning or late at night. Just trying to express gratitude for 3 things.
And the way that I would frame that, I would literally I remember driving all over the state actually, because I was the travel guy back then. And I would basically be holding thankfulness and gratitude in my hand. They'd be like, what's the monthly theme? What are we working with? And I'd be like, well, that depends. Do you think that you want to work on something more intrinsic or extrinsic? And they'd be like, well, what do you mean? I'd be like, well, we have this challenge, this gratitude. Gratitude is more for you. It's more for working on your inner gratefulness, right? Thankfulness is a little bit more outward. Granted, working on the outward stuff is going to help the inward stuff as well, but it's a little bit more extrinsic. You're pushing out into the world. And I got such good response from in pushing those 2 challenges at the same time. I think it's a lot of you get really interesting answers when people will just be like, I feel like I really express gratitude into the world to other people all the time, but I've been poor and I've been empty cup for a really long time. So I think I want to show gratitude to myself. I'm going to do the gratefulness challenge. So I think those 2 challenges are in the top 5 of all of them.
I
So
think there too. I almost wish I pulled them more. I think we got to make it more of a priority to pull those. It's funny because I was on site at one of our businesses this week, and somebody was giving me a hard time because every time a client would leave, I would say, "Thank you so much for taking time to come in here." And like I mean that every single time. Like it's not like I'm trying to be like I'm trying to prioritize the challenge, but like I really am thankful for the people that we get to serve. And expressing that for me also fills my cup because they know how much they mean to me and they mean to us in this business. So
and I don't mean to for people that don't understand the dynamic between Gus and I tease him sometimes, right?
he's a bully.
Okay.
Just kidding.
But like to be completely honest, I would understand why someone might believe that the way that Gus comes off to our clients and on camera, that it's a bit of a caricature, but it's not. Like, this is who this man is. He's the most grateful, humble person I've ever met, and he always puts other people first, and I mean that. And
Thank you.
yeah,
Jeez Louise, you're the man. You're the man. Oh man, you're making me cry. Frick. I appreciate you. But the reason behind the thankfulness card is kind of like what Zach just shared. Like it's about expressing thankfulness to the people around you, letting them know that you're thankful for them. And I don't think specifically like sixth graders to ninth graders don't really realize the power that that could have in their own lives and the relationships that they can create with people are optimized through that channel.
you never know. That's one of the biggest things when I explain the thankfulness, the extrinsic to people, because like I always finish it off. My little bow tie on the challenge when I'm talking to clients is not only is it going to bolster your relationships with people, you never know where somebody's at.
Absolutely.
So especially, Nick talks about this. He always says, once, the first week or two, decent, 14 people is easy to know. But when you start getting to mid-20s, you're reaching out to people that you haven't talked to since high school. You're reaching out to old friends that you never thought you'd talk to again, type of thing. And sometimes you might reach out to somebody that hasn't had anybody reach out to them in a long time, and you never know what you're doing for them.
Yeah.
And Sometimes people, I mean, mental health, we have an epidemic in the world right now with mental health crisis. And if you can be that voice, even for 5 minutes, explaining, even if it's just a text, a letter, a phone call, an email, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Connection is so important. And
it's huge.
yeah, give it a shot, honestly.
Yeah, try them out and try them out with your kids too. Like as I was trying to frame this conversation that I had with the school district in this presentation, I was trying to think through like where was I at when I was sixth, seventh, eighth grade. And for me, sixth, seventh, eighth grade, I'd been adopted. I was definitely not eating healthy breakfast. Like that's why I pulled the no sugar flour for breakfast card. I was eating French toast sticks for sure with a ton of syrup. Like that's middle school age kid. So for me, like when I look back at that time of my life, I was in love with football. I wanted to be the best athlete that I could be. I was going through the adoption side of things, so kind of reframing who I was as a human. So expressing thankfulness was why I pulled that one. And I was playing a ton of video games. And it's not the video games, the devil, but that's why I'm thinking like the digital fast could be meaningful for sixth to ninth grade. So those are kind of the three challenges that I picked due to the fact that not only do I think it's meaningful now for the kids today, but when I looked at myself at that age, I'm like, what would have been meaningful for me? Those three things. Where were you at sixth, seventh, eighth grade?
Oh, God.
Would those have helped you if you would have taken them on?
Thankfulness, for sure.
Yeah.
I was at a really low point in sixth grade. My sister had just passed away,
Oh man.
and I was so angry. And I think that you went through that too. Is I just had a lot of anger and I had no outlet for it. They put me in this like state mandated therapy when I was in sixth grade, and it just nice woman. She was great, but just it wasn't a productive therapy for me. Not that therapy is not productive for everybody else. I think you specifically have an extremely different perspective on being put into therapy around that age. You and I had pretty similar childhoods, and I think thankfulness would have just been such a foundational building block back then, you know?
Agreed.
I think it's a really good thing to instill in someone in sixth, seventh, eighth grade. And it's a great idea.
Yeah. Sweet. Love it. Love it. Cool. Well, if you guys have kiddos that are sixth, seventh, eighth graders, play with these habits if you want to, and let us know if they actually work in your kiddos' lives. We love to instill these habits in our own lives, but also know that like there's people out there that are listening that are moms and dads and have kiddos. So how can you optimize your children's lives, their children's health, that type of thing? Play with these three little habits, whether you got kiddos or not, and see if they make a difference in your life. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. Leave us comments, ratings, reviews. We appreciate all of you and can't wait to be back on with you soon.
Yeah.